Meeting of the council on the 19th of August. I just please note the emergency procedures on the screen. If you can make sure your phone is set to silent mode, and of course use your microphone, please. We'll go to our opening karakia. Whakataka ki te uru, whakataka ki te tonga, ki mā kina ki uta, ki mā tata ki tai, e hiaki ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei moriora. Moving through to apologies, I've received apologies for Councillor Tupou for lateness, and also apologies from Councillor Mitchell, who is with an bereavement with his family. And we also have Councillors Edwards and Councillor Barrett for early departure, though I'm hoping we'll be able to get through things relatively quickly. So if we could...
also for Councillor Brown as well for lateness.
Councillor Brown as well, yes, she did message through, so for lateness. Thank you. So we'll move all those apologies, seconded by Councillor Briggs. All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Thank you. Public comment? No. Conflict of interest declarations? No. Okay, item 5, which is the Local Water Done Well, adoption of the Water Services Delivery Plan and endorsement of the Water Services Council-controlled organisation foundation documents. Welcome, Bruce. This is on page 7 of our agenda. I'll pass it over to you for comments, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Kia ora tātou. So the primary purpose of this paper today is to formally adopt the Joint Water Services Delivery Plan. The paper also seeks endorsement of the draft foundation documents and principles for the new water entity, noting that it won't be finalised until later this year. And this goes on from the briefing that we had earlier in the month, where we went over this document and also the foundation documents. So the other 4 partnering councils will be considering similar resolutions over the next 2 days. The WSDP is a one-off document which has been some 5 to 6 months in preparation by a team of experts, and which has undergone specific peer reviews. The document has been legally reviewed by Simpson Grierson, and each of the chief executives have certified the content relating to their councils. During the preparation of the WSDP, the team has regularly met with DIA to ensure it is meeting their expectations. Martin Jenkins undertook a further independent review on behalf of the chief executives and found the document to be comprehensive and well written. So I suppose the main point I want to make this afternoon, as you consider this document, is from a governance perspective, you can be assured that the WSDP has been prepared in a thorough and robust manner and meets the statutory requirements set out in the water services legislation and can be signed off today. Reminding you that, of course, this document needs to be submitted to DIA by 3rd of September. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Bruce. Is there any questions from members? Councillor Dyer.
Thanks, Bruce. Obviously, we've had the opportunity with the workshop, which makes this process a lot easier. What is the plan with the comms and engagement with the public? Is there anything planned?
The comms are being coordinated at a regional level, and so I'll need to come back to you on the specific comms that will be coming out after or following these meetings. I don't have that before me.
Any other questions? Councillor Edwards.
I could be getting down in the weeds with my question, and it relates to the consumer charter, but I'll try you out on it. One of the recommended principles talks about the customer charter could include commitments on supporting local procurement, employment training, and payment of living wage. I take it from your opening comments, Bruce, that we're going to be debating these later, is it? And we're only one council. That's the opportunity to raise whether that word could should be must or will or?
The consumer charter is something that the company has to determine itself. So whatever is put into the that particular, the principles around that would be council's preferences, but they wouldn't be mandatory for that new company to adopt that.
Okay, and my other question related to a scenario that I don't know whether it can be covered in any of these documents or what the likely approach is going to be. I presume, like Wellington Water, Metro Water, or whatever it's going to be called, will pursue people who have leaks on their own property, private leaks, and they'll somehow have legislative power to pursue those private leaks. Because I was thinking of a situation where someone is renting a property, is now paying bills for water use, and there's a landlord that, no skin off my teeth whether this leak continues or not, I'm not paying for the water. How is that sort of thing covered?
So it's covered under the bylaw, and the bylaw is something that council will still have involvement with, and certainly at the moment, Wellington Water follows that up assiduously, and I think under the new regime that will still occur.
Any other questions? No. Okay, we'll move through to the recommendations. As mentioned by Councillor Dyer, for anyone online, we have had a pretty robust workshop on this, and I know that our colleagues around the region have had the same. So I think that things have lined up pretty well here for us to be able to finalise this, which is fantastic. Pretty significant milestone. So I will move the recommendations which are in front of us, 1 through to 7. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Stallinger. Any discussion? Councillor Dyer and Councillor Stallinger.
Thank you. We've obviously been through a very long, robust process with this local water done well implementation plan. And obviously have the reassurance today, and we know who's leading the work, that there's absolute assurance that we've satisfied all the legal and statutory and legislative requirements. The bit that I think has been missing from this whole conversation is how we bring the public on this journey with us. As a councillor for 6 years, I've been all over this from the early workshops with DIA, and I understand it, but I know people in the public have very little idea what's going on with the transition to this new water entity. So I would like to move an additional recommendation that Hutt City Council lead its own communications with residents ahead of the transition to the new water entity. Because I think it's super important that our residents know what is coming and what is happening, and not leaving it to the new entity to be set up to work out what their new logo is going to be like, to then lead the comms on this. There is an absence of information, and I think we owe it to our residents to at least tell them what these changes how will it impact them. I know we've done a lot of consultation, and we've obviously got the results from across the region in front of us, but it is such a small percentage of the community that has been part of this. The question I'm hearing over and over again is what is happening with water, and I think we should be front-footing that.
Councillor Briggs, did you? Yep. Okay, Councillor Stallinger. I mean, there's an amendment on the table. I suppose my comment here would be there is no question that we will be involved in communicating to our residents around what this means and how we do it, but it obviously makes sense to be working with our councils in the new entity and what that looks like. So I understand the sentiment, but I don't think we want to send a message here in these recommendations to our partner councils that may imply that we're off to go do our own thing. So I think if members are comfortable that it's a gimme that we're going to need to communicate and explain the transition, then I don't think we need a recommendation on it. It's not what really is in front of us today, getting into that level of implementation. So if there is a seconder for the amendment, I'm happy to put it to a vote. No? Okay, so that's lost, so we'll just carry on. So Councillor Stallinger.
Thank you. I really just wanted to repeat some of the sentiments I expressed at the briefing, that been very pleased to see the extent of work that's been undertaken, the quality of it, and the confidence in the answers that we have received. So I feel really positive about the change that's coming up. I was happy, of course, to second the recommendations, and looking forward to a busy time ahead for those that are successful in a few months' time in seeing this through.
Councillor Briggs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For me, I'm fully supportive of the recommendations in front of us. It's been a very long process, and as we all know, this is going to enable water to be done much better with the debt and the financial capabilities and the right levers to get on with the work that our city and the rest of the region and country need as well. As one of the people that won't be sitting around this table in a few months' time, I think just a word of caution to everyone that even though water won't be on our books, it's still going to be to all the businesses and households around our city, we'll still be bearing that brunt of that cost. And so we can't add additional costs on our ratepayer just because council has more headroom. We need to think about the total implication of cost of living for everyone involved and how our business operate as well. I know that this council will be a strong advocate going forward under the new structure and continually make sure that our city's voice is being heard as a shareholder in the new system. So best of luck to you all that are back at this table in a few months' time.
Deputy Mayor Lewis and then Councillor Brown.
Thank you. Just quickly, yeah, it's great that we've got to this point. There's been an amazing amount of work put in by officers and yourself, Mr. Mayor, to get this right, and our CE as well. So, and as Councillor Briggs said, the costs aren't going to come down. I did hear at a gathering in the weekend that the next year's elected members will be punching bags for our city, and this will be one of them. So I do agree with Councillor Dyer's suggestion for communications, that perhaps it's directed at the new identity to, get out quickly, and that we just put everything their way to make speed and let people know what is happening for our councils. So it's great we've got to this stage, and I'm very supportive.
Any other? Councillor Brown.
Thank you. Yeah, and I just agree with everybody around the table that it's really good to get to this stage. It's not a stage it could have been different if there was an earlier support of Three Waters at a higher level to get those the real efficiencies we would have got across New Zealand, and to see Te Mana o Te Wai not having that priority status of the why being at the very top of our outcome priorities. But however, it's good to get here, and I think the region's done a really good job, and this is a big step for us to be working together as a group, getting efficiencies just as a region. So I think that we make really fit next term to be working in as part of a larger group, which is the region, and so that we can enable people to get the best water and deal that they can. I just reiterate around that this is not any type of golden ticket. It's just they're going to get another invoice, which is going to be on a different piece of paper, but they're still going to be they are still going to be paying for water. So it's not a green light for us to be adding on more costs because we're not actually paying for the water. Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Tupou.
Mr. Mayor, I think just the season that we're in gives cause for reflection. About 3 years ago, I was sitting on the fence on the Three Waters issue, and the evidence was compelling. The feedback from community that we had issues. At the time, not everyone agreed. And so I agreed with the Three Waters approach. That was short-lived, obviously. And so the onus was on us as a council to address the water network issues. And so, Mr. Mayor, I just want to thank you for your leadership, your representation of our city. It hasn't been an easy ride. And with change, with progress, it doesn't come without a few bumps on the road. So I know that I'm not seeking re-election to Hutt City Council, like my colleague Councillor Briggs. And although I may not be completely excused from the fray of local government, but I'm confident that we're leaving with a bit of confidence and comfort and assurance that things are in good hands with Metro Wellington, and the aspirations of our people are being fulfilled in terms of infrastructure. Kia ora.
Anyone else? Thanks. Just to make a few closing comments before we put it to the vote. Thank you for your participation in the process, to everyone, to Jenny in particular, behind the scenes from a financial point of view, for the other CFOs in the region. I think you've done an outstanding job, and to our chief executives who have helped to really lead and guide this to the point now where, of course, councils will consider these final water service delivery plans, and we're also in the phase now of appointing the new interim board and chief executive soon as well. That is a pretty good position to be in. Just some reflections I maybe thought I'd share, because this is the last council meeting I'll be involved in formally, where I'll give you my views on water. I might have to do a few submissions to the next annual plan or something. Promise not to do that. But I just wanted to share some things that maybe you would want to think about as you navigate the next 12 months, or certainly to the 1st of July. I think there, as you know, I agree with the sentiment. I think, as Councillor Dyer said, communicating with our community of what this means, what it looks like, and trying to really establish the value that actually our water services provide to our community is going to be really significant. I think for too long, when you go out there and talk to people, they say, well, hold on a second, you're going to start charging me for water? It's free at the moment. We know it's not free. We know that the way that it's funded and the significant costs that is already there. So attempting to apply some value, I think the fact that we will have meters is an opportunity for that as well, and how those meters are rolled out, ensuring that they are the best they can possibly be to give good information to customers, to enable them to make decisions around how they operate their own household, and how they can, again, demonstrate how we can demonstrate that value. The other thing I would say is the transition with Wellington Water and the transition board. The interim directors will play a big role in this, but the shareholder councils will play a role. Is how do you make sure you take the good things from Wellington Water and leave the bad things behind? I think there is a real risk, and we will agree that no one wants a Wellington Water 2.0, but there is a lot of good stuff in there that we don't want to lose. And I think maybe some of the reflections I've had of when Wellington Water was set up, did we get all of the good stuff out of the councils and plans and systems to take over to the new entity? And then, of course, form your own functions and how you do it and the like. So I suppose just making sure that while we want to leave the past behind, don't lose those gems, which might be hiding in there as well. So challenge on that. The other one, which I think will be a biggie, is as these new entities are formed across the country, you're going to have issues around procurement, sign large significant contracts with tier 1 contractors and the likes. There is a risk of competition with other entities. I think we're potentially in a stronger position than others, given we're going to be larger and maybe ahead of the pack. But I would just be challenging the new board around collaboration and making sure that we are working together across the country, so we can get the best value for money and the best situations in place. That's not to say that if you're a early mover and in the current market you can get a good deal, then you should take advantage of that. But I do think that level of collaboration across these new entities will be important. Thank you again. That was just some thoughts I thought I would throw out there. And of course, thank you to Bruce as well. An incredible effort to get us to this point. To Hamish as well, behind the scenes. It's great to be able to be the first council of hopefully 5 that will sign this off. So I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against no. I declare that carried unanimously. Okay, so moving straight through to item 6, which is the proposal to rename the Lower Hutt Event Centre to Tutaki. And this is on page 319 of the agenda. Hayley, welcome. The report's pretty self-explanatory, though there may be some questions. Any comments you'd like to make, and then we'll open it up.
Kia ora, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Barry. Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Hayley Ellison toku ingoa. I'm responsible for the paper relating to the proposed renaming of Lower Hutt Event Centre. I'll just briefly outline the paper and happy to take any questions. The tenant, USAR Commercial Assets Limited, approached the council expressing an interest in renaming the Lower Hutt Event Centre and its internal spaces to better reflect Kia Tarangi ki tai Lower Hutt. Under the lease agreement, any name change requires approval from the council as the landlord, which is what this paper is seeking. So the proposal is to rename the wider complex Tutaki, meaning to meet or to encounter, reflecting both the purpose and the identity of the venue. Te Tira Māori have been engaged in mana whenua who are supportive of the proposal, and we'll continue to engage with them throughout the process to ensure the appropriate naming protocols continue. As well as reflecting the purpose and identity of the venue, officers of the view that the proposal provides an opportunity to create awareness and reputation for the centre and the city. So the paper notes that if approved, the council would forego any potential revenue from naming rights sponsorship, but we feel that the positive benefits of the proposed name change outweigh the potential opportunity cost. Costs of implementing any rebranding, including the design and production of brand collateral and operational updates, sit with the tenant. The council would support with ongoing engagement with mana whenua. So the paper recommends approval of the proposal, and so I'm happy to answer any questions. Kia ora.
Thanks, Hayley. Any questions? Councillor Briggs, then Councillor Morgan.
Thank you for the paper and bringing it to us. The only question I had around the finances, in the report it said any of council costs will be dealt with in existing budgets. Is there an existing budget for these kind of works, or will other projects be put aside to enable this to happen? And what's that kind of number we're talking about as well?
I apologise, that's a little bit confusing because the council, none of the costs of the rebranding actually sit with the council, that is with the tenant. So any costs associated with the name is just the trademarking and the qual marking. So it's things that we already pay for that are in our budgets and are very minimal, it's $2,000 a year for the qual marking and things like that. So, but they're already what we pay for. But certainly we've been very clear with the tenant, and it's very clear in the lease that the cost of the works and anything associated with the renaming, it sits with them.
Perfect, thank you.
Councillor Morgan.
Oh, kia ora, that was actually my question. So, but I'll have another second one on the basis of that, which is fantastic. Just around the comms, a bit like, making, and I guess it's a question, there'll be a very clear plan in the comms, correct, that will very definitely state it's not any of council money that are making this happen, because I think there's a lot of, sort of ill feeling out there about costs, and they might see this as another thing we're doing. Yeah, thank you.
No, that's fine. I was speaking to our comms team today in case there are any media contacts about this. We're being very clear that the decision is about approving a name change, and that's all that is our responsibility in terms of the lease. The tenant must get approval from council as the landlord, but that's where our obligations end. So, yeah, I understand the need to be clear about that. Thank you.
Councillor Dyer.
Thank you. Why would renaming the event centre preclude us from finding a sponsor down the line, or are we effectively gifting the sponsorship opportunity to the cafe?
Sure. In the lease, we have the opportunity to sell the naming rights. If we approve a different name, then the tenant can carry on using that name, and there wouldn't be an opportunity necessarily to have a sponsor come and call the event centre something else, unless the tenant agreed to that. So at the moment, if we allow them to rename it, that forgoes that right. We did apparently look into this back in 2018 when the centre was first built, and there wasn't any particular interest then. So we feel like the opportunity cost of the time spent to try and get the sponsor for what money you would get for it is perhaps limited as well, and the market is probably not going in that direction just now.
But is the opportunity to do that in the future if a business did approach the council, hey, we want to sponsor the Tutaki Centre, is that being removed from the contract as an option, or it could still be an option down the track?
I think it could be an option down the track. I'd have to check the lease. I know that we, enabling them to use a name would mean that they could use that until they didn't want to anymore. So it would have to be a negotiation with them if we were going to rename it something else. Yeah.
Councillor Tupou.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question around on the same theme as Councillor Dyer. what is the risk of council iwi relations if we do partner with the business later on down the track, if they've approved or gifted a name like this?
That's a very good question and something we would have to engage with them about at the time. Yeah.
Any other questions? Councillor Parkin.
Kia ora. I suspect this one actually delves into the operations, so feel free to tell me that it's wrong avenue. But currently we have the name Tutaki for the cafe, and as Councillor Dyer just alluded to, I wonder if that's actually going to cause some confusion, or is the cafe going to be called something else, or what are the thought processes there?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. The cafe will carry on being called Tutaki. So I think, as I understand it, the tenant would brand that the Tutaki Cafe and then would have the wider complex called Tutaki Event Centre.
Any other questions? No? Okay, so we'll move to the recommendations, which are in front of us, 1 through to 5, and this would be approving the proposal to rename the Lower Hutt Event Centre to Tutaki. I'll move that. Do I have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Lewis. Any discussion? Councillor Tupou, then Councillor Briggs.
If you may just indulge me, Mr. Mayor, I just want to mention that in doing the reading and looking at the papers in preparation for the meeting, I thought we were renaming Lower Hutt. But you know, I can't keep my hopes up. But we know how the minister responded to Pete One. So I think this is a fantastic opportunity. We have mana whenua support and for this name, and also, you know, two meaning to stand, and Taki, the gathering point, really just defines what the space and place is. It goes beyond just being a precinct or a hub. It's the commercial opportunities that exist. And I agree with the officer and the research that they've come up with and the data that shows that it's just not the economic climate at the moment for that big sponsorship. We can see how Sky Stadium, you know, that struggled. So I think if we adopt this name, this is my point here, that we're very careful about changing or switching the way that we approach sponsorship for the event centre. And there are others at this table that were involved in the building of the event centre that may have other insights. But I certainly think that we have to be wary when mana whenua approve or support a particular name for any building or bridge, that we respect that. We have a responsibility under the tākaihere. Kia ora.
Sorry, did I say Councillor Briggs next? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Support the comments of my colleague, and just want to acknowledge also that this has come from the tenants. That's the bit that I got most excited about when reading the paper in preparation for today's meeting, is the fact that they've identified that the name Tutaki is a significant name. It's an important name. It's a name that they've carried well for the cafe since it's been operating, and it's a name that will have significance in its wider use of the whole centre. Often costs incurred for small changes can be seen as a political nightmare, particularly at this time of the political cycle. And so also very happy to see that the cost is being fully taken on by the tenant, and that they want to invest in that name, and that they want to actually publicise our city in a really positive way at their cost. So I'm fully supportive of it, as Councillor Tupou recognised as well, that it's got full support from mana whenua, and they're going about it in a culturally appropriate way, and it's going to be well supported, I'm sure, by the wider city, as the cafe has been embraced as well and utilised. So yeah, strongly in support. I think it's a win-win for us, and at the moment we're not foregoing any sponsorship. There is no sponsorship for the event centre. There hasn't been any. There's not been that interest there. So I think at this point in time it makes sense for the rebranding, considering it's a deal for us, and I'm sure we'll get actually more excitement and more engagement and more eyes on our city when the rebranding occurs as well.
Deputy Mayor Lewis.
Thank you. Yes, I support this proposal that's been put to us by USAR. It's a commercial business they're running there, and I just congratulate them on being commercial and culturally sensitive as well. I just see the name change and the branding for that centre that is used for so many cultural events will have the biggest impact by having a Māori name. So yeah, congratulations USAR, and thank you councillors for supporting.
Councillor Edwards.
Just a little note from history. I remember when that centre was built and we were thinking about the name for it, that Wellington and the Tākina wanted us to roll over and give them that name. I'm glad we kept it. It's a lovely name, and I'm pleased to see the whole centre being renamed Tutaki, and it just shows our commitment under Te Tiriti to honour mana whenua and their wishes, and I think it's a great move.
Well said. Anything else? Great. They've been moved and seconded. I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour say aye. Those against no. Declare that carried. Great. No questions. Moving on to item 8, which is our closing karakia. Please feel free to join me. Unuhia, unuhia, unuhia e te uru tapunui, kia wātia, kia mama, tēnā kau, tia tina, tia wairua e te ara takatū. Koia rea rongo, whakaheri, aki, kia runga, kia wātia, aira, ku wātia, hau.